Okay, so as we get into this training session, we're going to talk about what is information security and how does that affect small and medium-sized businesses. So as we talk about that, we need to define what exactly is a small and medium-sized business. So if you look at the screen, you'll see some of these statistics for you. So a small and medium-sized businesses are 1 to about 500 employees, and that's within the U.S., okay? So the numbers will be a little bit different when you get to the Europe and Asia, but bottom line, that's about the same. We're talking size of an organization. 95% of all businesses within the United States fall within this bucket, okay, the SMB, so small and medium-sized businesses. 28.2 million of these are actually small businesses. So that means just a very few number of people that are actually utilizing this business. Approximately 50% of our gross domestic product falls in the small and medium-sized business category. So it just kind of gives you a point that a large part of our GDP, of the United States' GDP, is due to these small and medium-sized businesses. They create about 50% of all employees come from these. So again, if you're talking a target audience potentially being attacked, this is a very substantial group of people. So a large group of people. And then in Europe, they talk about the small and medium-sized businesses. This is kind of a number that I was able to get off the internet. Is about less than 250 people, but that too is a significant portion of the business within Europe. So what it comes right down to is why care? I mean, why do you really want to care? So cybersecurity is a lot of reasons behind it, but at the end of the day, it's a reputational issue. So if you've got a business and you've worked your tail off to have this business and it's awesome business, right? You've given everything you have. In so many cases, in these small and medium-sized businesses, they have given everything to make this work. Well, in examples, Target, Home Depot, healthcare institutions, if something happens to you and you get hacked, it will affect your bottom line. Target, they got hacked. It ended up, by the time it was all said and done, they say that hack on Target from an HVAC, so basically a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning vendor, cost them close to $750 million. Home Depot, very similar. So, and even that Yahoo breach that occurred recently was like in the $700 million. So it's incredible the amount of money can be lost. That's just due to reputational, legal fees, all those things that go with it. The other one is compliance and regulatory issues. Now, if you've got a business and you're working with the government, or in many cases, you just supply products. So we'll use GDPR for an example. That's the General Data Privacy Regulation. Yeah, that's it. And that regulation right there is specifically for anybody in the EU. And if you're selling stuff to people, and or not even selling stuff, just collecting information on people, you have to fall under GDPR. Well, what is it? There's a lot of requirements that go around it. I mean, a lot. And that isn't just for European companies. That's for companies that live in the United States or in China, whatever, but they serve European people. So again, that's another one. HIPAA for the United States. It's the Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. I think that's what it's called. And then there's Chinese cyber law. There's PCI, which is your payment card industry standards. Again, a lot of these regulatory issues that are designed to protect the consumer. The thing is, the third bullet is it results in legal issues. Can you end up entering into legal settlements because of this? And bottom line, that's why people recommend some sort of cyber insurance because of this reason. But you're going to have to deal with lawyers one way or another. So this whole piece of it is you should care. If you've got a small and medium-sized business, if you don't care about it, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And the last thing I want to say is, and I got this from the National Business Association in the United States, is over 60% of businesses that get hacked will be out of business in a year or less. So you think about that. If your business is hacked, you are done. My dad's got a good example. He's got an insurance company here in the United States. And that insurance company's been doing for 50 years. Now, if for some reason something were to happen to that business, he would lose everything. So if they get hacked, it gets disclosed, what would happen? That it would go away. And all of his life work would just go up in smoke because of something so simple as cybersecurity, right? And yet what we do is we kind of go, yeah, it won't happen to me. I don't know if that's really what you want to try. You can try it, but odds are high that at some point you will pay the piper on that. So it's a huge problem with the small and medium-sized business space. Why is it a big problem? Well, bottom line is you guys don't have the expertise needed to help protect your business. I was in a meeting with with a vice presidents for my company, and I was talking to them a little bit about this. And we started talking about the recent hack that occurred with the Department of Homeland Security, and mentioned to him about the fact that the reason they got hacked was because of vendors. And he looked at me and went, "What do you mean?" Well, we have allow vendors into our networks. Everybody does, whether you're small, medium-sized, large business, doesn't matter. Vendors are allowed into your company. Well, guess what? A lot of the security mechanisms that people put in place to protect their enterprise, let's say from a big enterprise standpoint, may not equate to the same as they're dealing with a vendor. So what happens if vendors are allowed in? Now, if you're a small and medium-sized business, at least in a large enterprise, you have ways to catch that. But if you're in a small and medium-sized business and you're using these boutique shops to help take care of your stuff, are they really protecting you? Maybe, maybe not. So it's something you got to really consider if you've got a small or medium business, if you use vendors to help support your IT functions. Lack of money and resources is another one. So, I mean, that's like everything, right? You can't ever throw enough money at stuff. And I will say from the Air Force standpoint, I could throw billions of dollars at stuff. And yeah, that'll keep majority of the people out. But the good ones that are really good are still going to get in. I could still get in. It's a matter of time, but you'll get in. There's almost nowhere out there that you can say. I can say never. I can't say never because I'm sure there's some situation. But it's just a matter of time. If people are involved, a hacker can get in. Also, they have limited security awareness. They don't think it's going to happen to them. Most people don't think. They're like, yeah, that's the guy down the street that's going to get hacked, not me, until it happens to them, right? And then once it happens, it's like, OMG, what am I going to do, right? So something to consider about with that. So when we talk about as an SMB, as a small, medium-sized business, what are some of the things you need to be aware of? The overall risk, okay? You got to know that you're small and medium business. I mean, all businesses are targeted, but if you're a small or medium-sized business, you're highly susceptible to being hacked. Why do I say that? Because guess what? I would go after you. Why? Because you're not protecting the same as you are an enterprise, and you've got lots of stuff that I could turn around and sell. So what do hackers do? They're going to go after, they're lazy, just like me. They're going to go after the easy targets, the people that won't put them in jail. Enterprises usually have a train of lawyers that can come after me. They know the FBI. All these things can happen. Well, when you go after a small or medium-sized business, they may not have the resources to be able to come after me. Now, granted, they can pass it off to the FBI, but that doesn't mean they're going to actually be able to prosecute me, right? So that's the part that you got to consider. Small and medium-sized businesses are especially vulnerable. Now, you need to understand that there's a way. You're probably asking yourself, what do I do to fix it? Well, there's standards in place that you can use. Now, they call them frameworks, but I'll just be honest. Most cybersecurity people, I said most is not a right word. Many cybersecurity people, they are huge, smart, big brain people. So I just showed that my education is about the 3rd grade level. So these are like way smarter than me people. However, what happens is the language they talk in is a bit complex, and honestly, it confuses me. So you'll hear these terms that may confuse you a bit. Just hang on for the ride. We'll try to address them. If you have any issues, you just go ahead and email me and let me know. But bottom line is that there are different things in place that you can use right now to help protect your business that are provided to you by the government. We call those their frameworks, and they're basically guidelines or guideposts on what you can do to properly secure your network. As a good example, you got ISO 27001, which works primarily a lot with international business. You also have the COBIT, you have FIPS, you have the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. They have a cybersecurity framework. That right there can walk you through what can you do. And I'm going to focus on my training and through podcasts that I put together on the cybersecurity framework. Why? Because in reality, it's a relatively simple framework that if you follow it, it will help you substantially.